Hi guys, it's April and I garden down in southeast Nebraska, zone 6A, and I'm about 5 weeks out from my last frost date, which is around the end of April, and I'm about 7 weeks out from having the garden fully planted because I like to wait about 2 weeks after about the middle of May before I plant out any of my tomatoes and peppers. And I only mention this because we are on day 2 of my Tomato Fest seed starting extravaganza. I think each day I might call it something slightly different. And today my focus is going to be on my slicer tomatoes. I have to categorize my slicers into dark slicers and light slicers, otherwise they don't all fit in the same container. I have a lot of tomato seeds, and so I am trying to focus down what I want to plant this year. So I decided that I'm either going to do seeds that I just never had really good success with to see if I can get any of those to actually do anything for me, and all of the new varieties that I received. So I'm going to be doing 12 different varieties of slicers this year. There's about 3 dark varieties, and that would be 9 of the light varieties. I do have to mention that I found a wayward dwarf tomato plant categorized in the wrong box yesterday, and so I will also be starting that as well. So there's an extra 2.5-inch pot for that. So there are 13 varieties that I am going to be planting out today. 12 of those are slicers, but it's gonna be fun. I know I mentioned this in my last tomato starting video, but I'm just gonna reiterate here. When I do seeds, if they're a seed that I just bought this year, at least a tomato seed, I will do 2 per pot. But if they're older seeds that I've trialed before, I'll usually put 3 per pot. So that, I just wanted to explain that beforehand in case you saw me doing different numbers in each pot. That's usually where my mindset is. I am gonna start with that dwarf that got away from me. And that would be this guy right here. I know I'm gonna say this wrong, but I believe it's the Uluru ochre. That's my best estimate of what that is supposed to be. But I did try and grow this one last year. I don't remember having a ton of success with it, unfortunately. I think it might have just not even made it at one point. I had a couple of tomato plants that had issues last year that I didn't get anything off of. I'm gonna mark that to make sure I know where I'm at. Okay. And hopefully I do not find any more straggler dwarf tomato plants. And since that was in my light slicer box, part of the reason that even happened is because this is the first year that I have pulled my dwarf plants into their own category, and I think I just forgot to pull that one out. But that was in my light slicers, so we will start with the light slicers, which means the first one up is the Solar Vortex. This is brand new to me this year from Wild Boar. So we'll see how this one goes. Okay, that is the Solar Vortex. This one, the Renegade, is one of those that I tried to grow last year, but either because of bad weather or bad watering, the plant did not survive. So I don't remember getting any fruit off of this one. Once again, the Renegade. And then we have the pineapple pig. So this is, once again, one of those ones that I did not really get anything from. There was a whole bed of tomato plants that just did not do well. And this was in that bed. And of course, because these are my lighter tomatoes, you're seeing a lot of very heavy yellow tomatoes. I really like the light tomatoes, especially the ones that are like multicolor, like the pineapples. So here I have the Lunatic. This is another one that I am retrying and hoping I have at least a little bit of success with this year. At some point I would like to get down to, okay, these are my favorite. I'm gonna grow them every year, but I keep getting distracted by new tomatoes that I just have to try. And that is no exception with this Cherokee Lime Stripes. I mentioned the last time that my gardener has suckered me in with their tomato plants. So we'll see what kind of craziness I start doing each year if they keep bringing in new tomatoes. Or at least varieties I haven't had access to before. And the second one from M.I. Gardner is the Lucid Gem. See, the problem is you hear about some of these tomatoes on, say, the YouTube channel, and then I go and I look at the website, and then they have a whole section on brand new tomatoes for 2026. And they always have such pretty pictures. I am a sucker for a good picture. I guess I'm planting 3 seeds because I already touched the wet soil, so I can't put it back in the packet. The Woodstock is one that I was really hopeful for last year. Not only because of the name, which just made me giggle, but because it's another one of the really pretty red and yellow tomatoes. It's like I can't really talk much about any of these tomatoes because I've either never grown it or I haven't grown it successfully yet. I always hear people talking about the Thorburn terracotta, which I have grown before, but then I saw the Thorburn's lemon blush. But I like the Thorburn line, so I figured I had to give this one a try. And then you have to have a good orange to balance all that yellow and yellow-red out. And so I have the orange jazz that I'm gonna try out this year. It looks like a giant tomato, and I'm super excited about that. Seal these last 2 up. And we will start on what I consider dark slicers. It's usually a red tomato or a red tomato with dark shoulders. I prefer the dark shoulders myself, so that is how I categorize those. Sometimes it's the red base with lots of stripes, because I do like a stripy tomato. I'm gonna start out with the Logathan Woolies. This is a fuzzy tomato. I did not have great success with it last year, so we're trying it again. I like to keep trying a variety until I have success with it, or at least one fruit, so I can try it and see if I even like it. And then I have eye candy, which is such a pretty looking tomato. And it may not be full slicer style. I don't know. I need to get it to grow to see if I consider it slicer size or not. I've heard people mention that this might be more of a snacking size, but for now I have it in my slicer category. And last, I'm super excited about this one. I've been hunting this one down for a while and I finally found it, and that is the Dark Star tomato. And yes, I did get it for the reference, and I'm hoping I like it. It looks more like your standard red tomato, but just like a deeper red. So I don't know if it's gonna be my favorite. I really don't like the typical red tomatoes, but I had to give it a try. Because with a name like that, you are gonna end up in my garden. Oop, I dropped that seed somewhere. Man. Well, I'm gonna end up finding that in a day or two. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I am going to cover this with vermiculite, spray it all in, and then we are gonna transfer these pots into the humidity dome that is currently over the dwarf tomato plants, and I'm gonna combine this so I don't have to worry about starting yet another heat mat until I absolutely need to turn on a new heat mat. I suppose we can first check to see if we've got anybody sprouting. Doesn't look like it. Then we will just start putting these in. So that is day 2 of Tomato Fest seed starting planting thing extravaganza. Tomorrow my plan is to do my Roma paste style tomatoes. So if you want to see more tomatoes and me starting more tomato seeds, feel free to come back. And if you aren't subscribed, subscribe down below, hit the bell to do all the things to get all of the notifications so you know when that video goes live. I also have an Instagram and Threads account, which you can follow a lot of this over there as well. I do normally at this point in the video, I go around and I show off all of my starts. I'm gonna hold off until Friday to show you all of that. But even more of the herbs have started to sprout, so I've been moving them over to the other tray, and I think we're down to only 2 peppers that haven't sprouted. I don't know if they're going to, but I'm still holding out hope that that is gonna happen. Now these next 3 days are supposedly supposed to be fairly warm, which means I'm probably gonna do some work outside in the garden. I think I'm gonna pick up some compost and start topping up a lot of those beds. And then a lot of my cool season plants I'm gonna put outside to start hardening off. They will probably be planted in the ground in a couple of weeks, probably somewhere between April 7th and April 14th. I don't know for sure. It all depends on what kind of weather patterns we have at that point, because I do not want to put these outside and then just have them be killed off. So we are watching the weather, but I do need to start emptying some of these shelves with the tomato plants and everything else that are starting. Those tomato plants and pepper plants, at some point, I am probably going to be separating some of them out and getting even more plants. Plus, I still have my sunflowers and my zinnias and my calendulas and my nasturtiums and things like that that I want to start as well. So I need more room. So eventually these cool weather plants need to go outside. But let me know down below if you are planning on planting any of the tomatoes that I just started today. And if you have any experience with any of them, I would love to hear that as well. Otherwise, I hope I will see you guys in another video, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.